Exactly. Are we still muted? I think so. I can't believe we have to do this entire.
Okay, can you hear us now, Jeff? You can hear us now. We're going to start the show over from the top.
No, all right, only silent show tonight.
Yeah,
all right,
just everyone use your hands and just. Can you guys hear us now?
What about now? Are we good or? And then.
We're back.
And then, are we back? Okay.
We're back.
All right,
Okay,
we're
all right,
back.
guys, start the show over.
We're
From the top. Ready?
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Winners Lounge. There it is, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out whatever the moment. It's never order at Bet365. How do we doing our bets tonight?
We did not do that. You know, we didn't do that great. Like, we did get some of these things.
Yeah.
They went into overtime, but the under still hit in the game.
Yeah.
The Spurs total loss, still hit -3, but on the 3, that is my bet. We didn't do as well, so we'll run it back.
The thing is, though, Dev always takes accountability,
Really
man,
does.
which I really appreciate.
We're literally doing the thing we just did in silence, apparently, for a minute. Nuggets get the win, man. There's some big talking points. I'm excited to get into all of it. These really were 2 very good games.
Sure were.
The Jokic-Wemby matchup, fascinating.
Yep.
We're going to break it all down. I got Brendan Vogt in the house with me.
Man, this Jokic-Wemby matchup is just churning out bangers, man. And it's awesome. And it may not be awesome to watch your team in dogfights with a team you'd like to see them clear, but this is really something, man. Wemby is a remarkable player. And,
really
and the
is.
point I would put out there, and I don't even mean as hating, just because we always look to the future more than we appreciate the present, guys.
Always.
He'd be lucky to have half the career Jokic is having. So to see these 2 guys clash right now, right? And to see the problems already presented, what a treat, man. This is really fun. 2 good games in a row.
I got Superstar Dev in the building. Cowboy Dev.
Cowboy Dev. I like that game. I really did like that game. We got to run it back this time with an alternate ending. The Nuggets winning. That's my favorite one.
You always like the director's cut, like slightly different. This is what it was. This was the director's cut of that matchup.
Yeah. There's like 30 minutes you guys missed. That's really important to the.
Well, it went to overtime. That was the part we were missing. A lot to get to tonight. There's some big storylines from this one, and storylines that I really think are important to the Nuggets season that happened tonight. And we're going to break it all down for you. But first, our fast breakdown. Just like the last game, 2 on Wemby quick, even quicker tonight. It was like immediate that he picked up 2 fouls. So you thought, okay, things are going to be good. But then Jamal Murray picked up 2 quick fouls as well. So it's almost like canceled it out a little bit. Nuggets did not take advantage in that first quarter of Wemby not being on the court. That team's not good without Wemby. With Wemby, they're pretty good because he's really good. Without Wemby, he's not. And yet the Nuggets did not build a lead in that first quarter that was, going to carry them. It was 30-27 at the end of one. Second quarter, back and forth for most of the quarter, but then the Nuggets could not hit a three. 1 of 14 or 1 of 15 they started this game. It was just absolutely horrible. And so the Spurs took a 55-54 lead going into the third. The Spurs caught fire, including Wembanyama to start. Remember, they hit like 4 threes in a row to start the second half. Immediately built a 10-point lead, and it was tough. And the Nuggets, when Wemby came out, there was no progress once again. So 2 stints without Wemby that just didn't quite go the way you kind of thought. So you got scared going into that fourth quarter, 92-81 Spurs. But in the fourth, really the whole second half, Michael Porter Jr. was heating up. And in the fourth quarter, he kept it going. It was a 4-point game heading into clutch time. Jamal Murray had that turnover it was right at 5-minute mark. It's like, all right, clutch time, 4-point game. Let's see what the Nuggets do. A turnover on the inbound with no pressure. The Nuggets just dropped the ball out of bounds. And you're like, all right, I kind of felt like I knew how the game was going to go.
Yeah,
but no, that was a red herring. There was some 2-man game late. P. Watt tied it at the line. He's getting clutch time minutes to guard Wembanyama, doing a phenomenal job. Russ hit a 3. Of all the ways to take the lead, it was with a Russell Westbrook 3-pointer. Honestly, the most crazy way to go about, but also it's so unexpected that it actually makes it way cooler.
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, this was a night where every time Russ squared up to shoot, you were kind of holding your breath, right? Just to be frank. And he was open. It was the right shot to take. The clock was running down. He needed to take it. He needed to make it. Yeah. Those shots, by the way, are the most fun shots, as you would know, going to the arena at the bar.
Oh, ever. The crowd gets a little extra loud when Russ surprises us. Oh, man. That.
And shout out Red Hawk Roofing. Great watch party tonight. But the vibe, because everyone was crouched in the corner.
We were all like Malone.
Willing this game to go our way. And when that Russ shot fell, man, like those are the moments where you go, like, as much as we all want to intellectualize this game, it is also something to be felt and enjoyed. And it was a great moment.
This was a crazy bar night. Like it was.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was packed, but also it felt intimate in this one. Like everybody was into it, everybody was involved, and there was also a hockey, like the Avs are going at the exact same time, so like they're all over the place with that one. This was a great night.
Jokic hit a free throw, put him up 2, but Vassell tied it with 14 seconds left. Nuggets get the last shot, played it extremely conservative. Jokic got a foul line jumper and he missed it, so the game goes to overtime. Jokic was pissed that he missed the game winner. Let his team down.
I was too.
I was pissed. So in overtime, he said, "You know what? I'll just score every single time." He starts going to work in overtime, just absolute beast mode. CP3, there was that review. I thought that one could be a really big deal. Remember, he swiped it out of MPJ's hands. They review it. It's not 2 free throws. It's going to be sideline out of bounds, but Jokic hit that high arcer. And I'm going to do a reenactment right now. This is not for our audio listeners, because I don't know what you would call this. It wasn't a fadeaway. It wasn't a fall away.
Fall over.
It was like a put the ball up here as high as you can. And because Wemby's so tall, you have to shoot it from that angle. It was the craziest angled shot. Nothing but net.
There was that Chinese robot that was like not ever missing the shot.
I remember that, yeah.
That's what it looked like. You put it, suited all the way up, right into the rim.
Then Jokic had a tap in. Jokic just brought it home, man. This was a game where, like I said, he missed the game winner. You could tell he was pissed, and he's like, "I'm not letting my team down tonight. I'm not doing that." He goes off 46 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, a 46-point Sombor double.
Where do you shoot from the field, by the way?
19 to 35. Took a lot of shots. Took 36 last game.
It's still pretty good, though. I mean, the thing of it is Jokic is, there's something about, like, look.
60%, 65 maybe.
Kind of a weird year in that the 3-point shot's so much better, but the touch at the rim is noticeably worse. To the point where I was sitting there at one point tonight going, man, is it really even still that efficient of a season? Absolutely an efficient 40-piece tonight. I mean, the expectations are just so high. And that was him doing that on a night when guys couldn't hit shots or space the floor properly against a really, really, really good defensive center. So I almost realize now, as I think about my big takeaways, how ready I was to take this performance from Jokic for granted.
Yeah.
Because you expect it, and he does it. But if he was anything less than brilliant, this would be a very, very different game.
100%, man. 35 shots. He just knows the assignment this year, and the assignment is shoot the ball a lot. The matchup with Wemby's fascinating. We're going to break it all down, but we start with our Red Hawk Roofing big takeaways. Do we have our Red Hawk Roofing big takeaways? We have our Red Hawk Roofing big takeaways. All right, there you go. Dev, start us off.
My Red Hawk Roofing big takeaway in this one is you could go a lot of places in this one. I know we're going to get over to the Jokic. We'll, bounce around to Michael Porter Jr. I'm going to start with something that we have not seen much of, The defense. Peyton Watson in that second half.
Thank you, man.
What a decision by Malone to switch and go with Peyton Watson on a Wemby.
Yeah.
But also, what Peyton Watson is doing defensively this year, like if you really like key in on it, the type of defenders that the type of people that he's having to defend on every single night, this was Wemby. He's way bigger than him. He was physical with him. He didn't let him put it on the ground. He got him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We didn't see the same Wemby that we saw earlier in this game, and also, of course, last night. But you just have to tip your hat to Peyton Watson. There was, some things that he did on offense that just challenged him. He challenged Wemby in different ways. I think about that reverse layup that he did, but also the defense. It's not only the blocks. He had 2 of those, but he just made things hell for Wemby in that second half. So hat tip to him.
Absolute hat tip. We're going to go deep on Peyton Watson today because I actually think he's one of the most important storylines. Obviously, he's one of them from this game, but I actually think there's something to really dig in. But yes, tough assignment, Wemby. Great job on him.
Just a really, really great takeaway, Dev. I agree with that strongly. And the
Go
Nuggets.
to the well.
All right, really quickly, I just want to throw a little tack on to Dev's point. The Nuggets don't have a good option on paper to guard Victor. You know what they kind of figured out, though? Russ and Peyton, anytime he put the ball below his waist, they were like, okay, we got to attack because we're not going to block the shot. But it kind of worked, man. And even Jokic, I think, got on the floor and disrupted one in OT.
He's got weak hands, like Wemby does. So when he brings the ball low, it's actually he's extra vulnerable from it.
And it's so far away from him. The low, which is at Russ's eye level, is like below.
Did they tack an extra rebound on Yoke or no? No, I'm seeing just 9. Somebody was saying he got 10. Sometimes they'll give him an extra one afterwards, but no.
My big takeaway is that it's actually pretty cool and good that Michael Porter Jr. is on this team. I'm glad he is.
Yeah, it is good that
I'm glad he is. And obviously I framed it that way for a reason with a lot of the reports of the last month. And I just think he's played really, really, really well since then, with the exception of the first game. When admittedly I panicked, is Mike's head still in it? And turns out, as always, Mike was just going to be a good soldier and teammate about it. But he's played really, really well. And I want to make a more specific take about it because the truth is, it's just not, I love to say give Mike the ball in certain moments, but it's just not, this offense isn't about letting Mike shoot 35 times. Fine. There is a healthy version of this offense we've seen plenty times this season where the ball pops. And if everyone's scoring 15 to 20 and it's efficient, that's great, man. Just because he's paid more, he doesn't need to get those shots.
Correct.
But when the offense stalls, guys, I just think it has to be MPJ time. I think that's his music as it was tonight. And that's as much on him as it is the team at times. Go get the ball. And tonight he did. And I thought it was weird because then he still gets kind of frozen out in the fourth and overtime. But I think Mike knows that's how it's done here. He did his job. But when you can't do Nuggets basketball and you're looking for a bucket, I just think it's time to turn to Mike. And even if he starts 1 for 4, keep shooting, man. Keep shooting because this guy's a laser. He's locked in right now. And I think he's thinking less. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Porter's a part of this team.
Plus 21 in 46 minutes. First of all, you can always tell where Malone's trust is. Oftentimes in a close game by who played the minutes. 46 minutes. Congrats on a back-to-back, man. Back-to-back MPJ. 46 minutes for you tonight. You get 2 nights off to rest before the Celtics are in town. But yeah, absolutely, man. And I almost don't want to follow up on that because I want us to go deeper on it here in a little bit.
Sure.
That was my Red Hawk roofing. I'm just going to go back to the other. Actually, you know what? Since we'll just cover all bases, the Jokic-Wemby matchup is really good. Wemby's ability to impact Jokic, nobody affects him this way.
I agree.
I was just asked the other day by Brad Rowland, who covers the Atlanta Hawks, who guards Jokic the best, and I kind of said, it's not really, anybody. It's scheme this. The truth is, I think it's officially now Victor Wembanyama, and you're going to laugh because Jokic's averaging 40.
Exactly.
What is he averaging now? 43 against him, this season so far. But he has to work for those buckets, man. And I think if Denver had a little bit better spacing or shooting, this matchup might be a little easier because part of the problem is they know that they're not afraid of Denver shooters, so they can kind of crowd a little bit, guard him one-on-one. But nonetheless, Wemby takes that matchup very seriously. He's so freaking long. It really brings the most out of Jokic. But you know what? So does Anthony Davis. And so does Rudy Gobert. Yoke's best games come against those guys. That's part of what makes him so special.
Right.
The harder it is, the more he locks in. And tonight, 46, 9, and 10. And a lot of those came in big boy situations where it was like, hey, man, not a possession to spare. And he goes, okay, I got it. He was awesome tonight. But that matchup, Dev, it really is going to be an incredible matchup for years to come because Wemby's as good as it gets defensively. Yoke's as good as it gets offensively.
Dude, it was incredible. We got to see that back-to-back nights, and I truly cannot believe that at least one of them was not on national television.
Insane.
It doesn't make sense. We got to see like
the NBA
two
didn't know what they're doing.
bangers, like back-to-back. And also, I mean, it was like putting like a 1,000-piece puzzle in there last night. Jokic is like taking his time. It took a while to get it, but today the puzzle's done. And it's like, hold on, you've already done that. Like I do think that Wemby defends him better than everyone else, but also I think it takes him time to figure them out, and that's what we know with Jokic. And I'm not saying that he figured them out, but it was like, okay, I know what to do here. I've seen this many type of defenses, and there was you could go back and forth of who won that matchup last night. There's levels to this. Tonight, it was all Jokic. It was not really close. I love that there was the cross matchup where they was like, hey, we're going to put somebody else on him and make Wemby work extremely hard. So, I mean, there's those nights that you're like, hey, he's incredible. But then there's like those nights that he goes, godly. This is the best defender in the world, and he just put up one of the most insane stat lines. Was it a Yokogami? It probably was.
I didn't even look, but I'll look up during the break.
One of those insane stat lines against the best defender that was on him the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
That's what I think is, you guys framed it really well. So when you say Wemby's the best challenge, you're going, and obviously Jokic played amazing.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about is, it is just the way that like an all-time great has had to be an all-time great to get past a 21-year-old. Is he still 21? So credit to Wemby. Obviously, Jokic can still figure out even the toughest puzzles because he is the best in the world and still will be for some time. But I do think Wemby's the only guy I've ever seen speed Jokic up or make Jokic think a little more about his layups. And this is a guy who's famously unflappable otherwise.
Yep. It was a great game, man. Really great game, and it's fun to see Yoke do what he does, man, and to carry this thing home. All right, let's take a break. I really want to dig in on both the MPJ and the P. Watt stuff in segment 2 even further. We'll get to that on the other side.
Live Well Cannabis Store strives to make the cannabis accessible to all because they believe everyone deserves to live well. They have 25 convenient Colorado dispensary locations with a premium selection and expert service that await you. Their knowledgeable, supportive staff are there to help you on your journey. Honestly, if you've never been to a dispensary, one of the best parts, as opposed to just kind of going and picking up and not knowing what you're getting, is these are folks that know a lot about the product. They know a lot about how different strains can affect different people. And you can really talk and kind of figure out, hey, that last thing I tried made me a little anxious. Do you have anything that's different, more in this direction? Really, the best part is you get to mention code DNVR25 right now. And when you do, you're going to get 25% off one regular price item. Restrictions apply. Just going to give you a little pro tip if you like to buy in bulk. That can be an ounce. That 25% off. And man, that is quite the use of a 25% off. So check out Live Well. Remember code DNVR25. And fellas, do you know what time it is right now? You actually do have to guess, which is my favorite part. Do you know what time it is right now?
Miller time.
It's Miller time.
Miller time.
That's right.
Yeah, it's Miller time.
That's right, Adam. Miller pairs well with Nuggets losses. I find it pairs even better with Nuggets wins.
I knew that.
I also like the option at the bar because, look, frankly, when you are around a sports bar as often as we are, there's a lot of opportunity to drink some calories. And when you're drinking Miller Lite, you're drinking less of the stuff you don't want, more of the stuff that you do. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/DNVR to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Seriously, you have seen it. You know about Miller Lite. Just go to a store and they've got it. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
There you go. All right, we are back here, segment 2. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. All right, let's go back into PWAP before we move on to anybody else. And there's a lot of people to talk about, but my belief coming into the year, and it only strengthened as the year played on, was that Peyton Watson is among the most interesting or important players on the Nuggets roster. And of the young guys, the most important one. It's not because I think he's the best right now. It's because what he can do, nobody else on the roster can, and it's desperately needed. He guarded Kyrie earlier in the year when Luka was out. I think Kyrie had 18 points.
Yeah.
He's gone up against Kevin Durant and guarded him really well. He's gone up against LeBron James, Luka Doncic. It's like a wide array of types of players. It's not like, okay, he's our guy for this mold of player. Kyrie Irving, Victor Wembanyama. Pretty different. Pretty different.
In every aspect, though.
In every aspect. And tonight you put him on Wemby. He plays 34 minutes. He, too, was a plus 21 in his 34 minutes. And he has his flaws as a player. He's a project player. You know, he's young. He's learning the ropes. But you have to get over the hump with him. And the way to do that is to commit to him, because the Nuggets, if your hope is a championship, you have to have an ace defender. I think you have one in Aaron Gordon. I think you got one. But you got to have other ones. And Christian Braun is very good. He's very solid. There's some matchups I really love him. Peyton Watson, to me, represents the potential of another level to that. And I don't think he's that far off of it. You got to get over a hump. You got to get him confident, and he's got to play some consistent minutes. I think tonight was maybe the most important P-Watt game, because you were like, oh, yeah, that doesn't happen with literally anyone else in the Nuggets roster.
Yeah, you just talked about like this being the most important game. And then you also talked about confidence. He got both of those from his coach. And there was even the moment after he made that assist, later in the game to Jokic to pretty much seal this one, where he had a moment with Malone. Malone trusted in him in this game. This wasn't like hey, we're only going to put you out there for defense. P-Watt was out there on the last play of the game in an offensive only purpose like type of game, because he earned those type of minutes.
Great point.
Where you're against Wemby, where you're stepping out, where you're not that was the thing about Peyton Watson in this one that no one else on the team does. He didn't just allow them to just make the switch. Wemby wanted to get him off of him. He's like, I'm going to fight through the switch. I'm going to, do things to just make it difficult for him, but you're not going to get what you want to get. There was, he had some tough finishes. He had a couple of mistakes, but he made up for those mistakes, and you're okay with that. And you're only going to get that if you trust in your guy to play, a bit more. You talked about how incredible it was that Peyton Watson was a plus 21. Guess who else was?
Michael Porter Jr.
Or sorry, Michael Porter
Other way
Jr.
around,
Also Peyton Watson.
Yep.
Plus 21. Yeah. He was in there
Deb.
when it truly mattered, and he made a difference. That second half, it truly was incredible. I know he won the defensive player of the game. Who else would you go to? He stopped Wemby. He's getting blocks. A lot of team help side defense. A lot of team defense. And that's what you're out there for. So really, this was a great. He even had 8 rebounds.
That's big, man. The rebounds are important for him.
That's really, really, really important for him. Dev is absolutely cooking tonight on the P-Watt stuff. He's 100% right. Only thing I'd add on, you know what I even also loved? The 2 corner threes that he took and missed. And I know it feels like in that moment, okay, just tighten up and win the game now. But part of what we talked about with getting from point A to point B this season, developmental minutes. What's the point of him if Peyton's afraid to shoot the wide open? Mike makes the extra pass even on the next one. He's got to shoot that. He did. He missed him, but I like that he shot him. I like that he was out there. Hat tip to Peyton for really, really good defense. Really good.
If you think about it, I think he is in one of the more unique spots, probably the most difficult spot of all the top 8 guys, because Christian Braun's in the starting lineup. He's getting to play with Jokic a lot. He's going to get shots. He's not out there to score, but if he scores, it's almost like it's forgiven. Julian Strawther is the microwave scorer off the bench in theory, although he struggles with that role, I think. 1 of 9 tonight. But his role is to go out there and get shots up, right? You miss assignments, we kind of expect it. Just get your shots up. Peyton's in a weird spot where I think, because he plays such limited minutes, he does have a hard time taking those shots, because it's like, man, if I go 0 for 2 here, is it okay? Now he's ruining the spacing, this or that. And, he doesn't always get to take on the biggest defensive assignments or what have you. But to me, we're almost halfway through the season. I think I can see the Nuggets' potential based on the roster that they have. And it is significantly higher if Peyton Watson develops the way he can given half a season, but he's got to play. I don't think he's there right now. There'll be some ugly games along the way. There's going to be some nights where it's like, man, Peyton just didn't have it tonight or what have you. But to me, that's true of Christian. That's true of Julian. That's true of all the young guys. I mean, it's true of Jamal even at the moment. But it's like you just have to commit to that. If you're going to commit to one guy, you don't know what you're going to get every night. Commit to him, because the upside there is just too important.
And then you talk about the upside, but also when you bring up like a Peyton Watson, a Christian Braun, the biggest thing for Denver this year and why they aren't where they want to be or the contenders is they don't have defense. They don't have defenders. If you commit to him, he's your best defender on the team. So like you want to build him up. You want to put him in those type of situations where you're not so reliant on an Aaron Gordon. You're not so reliant on a Christian Brown. Now you have multiple guys that you could put out there, and he's such a versatile defender that he just poses a different threat that you could just put him out there at different times.
That's the key.
And it makes it okay. I mean, I just think that is like the most important thing right now is the development of the defenders, because you know what you have in your core. You've signed your guys, and offensively you're well, but if you could get a superstar on the defensive end that can star in his role, like what is the limits?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and then not that he's actually actively listening. I just want to say this with a lot of self-awareness. My message to Peyton Watson would be then also commit to that. Rebounding, defense. Take those open corner threes when you're open, because if you're going to be on the floor, it's part of it. But know that in doing that, you are doing three things. Ingratiating yourself with Jokic, the fan base, and the folks that are going to give you your next contract. And I know sometimes it feels like to get my next contract, I got to put up X amount of points. You do the right thing alongside Nikola Jokic, you will be labeled a winning player. You will be paid as a winning player. And so, like, look, man, Peyton is not a 30-plus-year-old veteran. Like, KC, one of the cool things about KCP is, hey, KCP, you're only going to shoot 2 times tonight, but can he play defense? Yeah, sure, I got you. He
didn't even care.
A little harder for a guy in Peyton's age at times. He feels like he's got something to build, something to prove, right? But I would just argue that the fastest and most efficient path to Peyton proving himself would be committing to these things we've talked about tonight.
I think this is a big game for him, and I'm going to go as far as to say they've got Boston coming up. That's another matchup where you need multiple defenders at all times because you need to get some stops. I think he has a golden opportunity here. Even if AG is back on Tuesday for that game, which is possible, he's missed a lot of time. Maybe he's ready to try it again. Either way, he's in a golden opportunity right now where it's like, just go out there and do what you did to Wemby tonight. Go do that to Jason Tatum on Tuesday. Because my hope is, we've seen this with Michael Malone, even with Christian Brown and Christian's rookie season. It was about right now in the year when he started playing. Sometimes Malone just digs his heels in, or has a method to his madness, perhaps, about why he'll slow play guys. But there is a point in the season where that kind of shifts, and I just hope this was the shift. 34 minutes tonight, and I hope it is the first step of a long process for him where it's like, all right, the second half of the year was where P-Watt joined the top 7.
You know when he actually woke up and he looked like his best? When he got to play with the starters. When he got to be alongside the guys where he's not, straight out of position, but also whenever you make a decision, it's not all on you. You are around, other players that could make up for those limitations that you have.
Right.
And I feel like I hope that he's earned more minutes with those starters right now. There's been shifts for Russell Westbrook to be with the starters, which he looks better with. There's been, shifts to put, people in different situations because it makes them better. If you could put Peyton Watson with the starters and earn those minutes a little bit more, I mean, now you got some defense out there. You could put him in these situations where you have an offensive, defensive punch. But I think that was the difference in the game. That second half, they was like, hey, we're going to put you alongside the starters and just show up. Let's see what you can give. So I just think that at times you do need to change up rotations just to see what it looks like.
Is there any world, do you remember at the beginning of the year, Michael Malone came in and kind of surprised us all where he goes, it's a 2-man race for shooting guard. Is there any world where the actual best answer is just Peyton Watson at shooting guard? Another defender, you have him and AG on the floor that's really versatile defensively. He guards twos.
Shooting guard, yeah. I mean, guarding twos, yeah. Look, then his challenge would just be figuring out that complementary offensive skill set.
Honest question. Do you have more confidence? Ball kicks out to the open corner. It's either CB or P-Watt. Is it meaningfully different to you? Who's taking the wide open three?
I might give an edge to CB, but I don't feel great saying that. So
it's low enough now that you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good question.
I just wonder if that, Michael Malone started the year with that. It's a 2-man race between him and Julian. And I thought, I guess P-Watt's just thought of more as a forward than as a guard. Let's talk about Jamal Murray real quick. We'll do Mike in a bigger segment. 13 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals. The 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, pretty good in 38 minutes. The scoring, 13 points, 6 of 17 shooting is a little bit concerning. What did you see from Jamal now? This is his 3rd straight game kind of around these numbers, other than the garbage time he had 3 games ago where he got up to 20.
It's so tough talking about Jamal right now. It is rough. Because like there's moments that he's good, and then there's moments that he's not good at all. Like I think this was a great defensive effort type of game for Jamal, but it was because he sucked so bad on offense. You know, like so you're like I don't want to take the good with the bad. I don't want to with Jamal. He's not playing well, especially offensively. He went 6 of 17 from the field in this one, but a lot of those shots came early. He's dribbling the hell out of the ball. He's dribbling the air out of the ball. Like there was a chant tonight of like Jamal passed the ball in the bar. Like, I have never seen that. That was pretty crazy. But also then you say like he did have those moments where he challenged Wemby at the rim and he finishes. And you're like, hey, why can't you do more of that? Like what happened there? I do want to credit, like, I feel like he made it a point to try to find Michael Porter Jr. in this one a little bit more, which you just do not see. There was, I remember a play that there was a skip to Michael Porter Jr. He went out of the way to find him. That I'm like, hey, you're a point guard. You know what? You should do that more. Find your shooter. Find your scores. I also seen the 2-man late. Where him and Jokic, started to get it going and stuff. So I do think that it's difficult talking about Jamal right now. But all in all, he sucks offensively right now. It's just not good.
It is rough.
There's a world where if he was an efficient mid-teen scorer and then a very good supplemental and even tertiary playmaker, like another guy getting 6+ assists and, rebounding well, which he can do when he commits to, where you go, that's a very nice contribution. But it would have to be efficient. And for the second night in a row, it was not. Is this actually not the same? Was he 6 of 17 last night as well?
I don't remember.
It honestly sounds like the exact same.
Probably.
It actually sounds like the exact same.
Can I say one last thing about Jamal?
Yeah, please do.
I feel like it truly, and I've said it, that's crazy. I've said it like already, but like there really is like them looking at the game plan and saying, pick them up full court and bump them.
Good take.
Bump them every single time. They are very physical with Jamal. More than anyone else on the team. They're like pushing him. He can't get through any type of screens. They want to get him off of his dribble, which he doesn't want to give it up. And then also, he's not making that pull-up three, like in transition. When you're not able to make that transition three, it's a lot of ISO ball. It's a lot of one-on-one, and I don't feel like Jamal is a one-on-one type of player, despite him wanting to be an ISO player right now. But it is just shocking that the young guys, like how they pick him up in the games.
Yeah, I love that point because what did Michael Malone say earlier in the year? In this league, the streets talk. We've said this before, but that Minnesota series, I just think a lot of coaches watch that series and go, oh, Murray doesn't like physicality. He gets worn down when you full court press him. Every game he's getting that this year. And tonight, I actually thought they were allowed to get away with a lot of physicality on him tonight. It's almost like they know and they're giving it a little bit extra. But it is one thing where we're just so far into the season and you're like, man, he's having a hard time shaking guys. Guys are picking him up full court, getting physical with him. And he has these rough nights. I will say this, though, to come to his defense. There was some good two-man game with him and Jokic in the fourth quarter and overtime tonight. Getting Wemby switched out onto Jamal. Like that stuff is just tact, right? It's just we've been doing this so long we know how to force the switch. Now we get it to Jokic inside. It's part of why he was cooking. And Murray did a good job of setting that table because it's different when Wemby's guarding him versus Russ. You switch off of Russ, it's like you just ignore him.
Yeah.
And he did a decent job of that at points in this game, but still 13 points on 17 shots. It's one of those things. So I hope the change is right around the corner.
After those six shots that he made, 3 of them was on Wemby, the toughest shots of the entire night. I'm like, of all the shots that you made, why is it those shots?
Strangest player, man.
Yeah, what is like? It has to be a mental thing with him, like because those are really the only shots that I feel comfortable with. Nothing else. Yeah, I'm like, wow. And then a scoop where there's a guy that's draped all over him, and Wemby goes and tries to block it, off the backboard. But yeah, that was telling for me.
And that one was a good froze, like he was going to give it to Jokic just long enough to get into the layup. It was actually a really nice play. Wemby covers a lot of ground, man. It's kind of wild. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, give some more loves to Michael Porter and ask, what does it mean that he has now had, I think it's 9 out of 10 games or 8 out of 9 games, he's had 21 or more points. Pretty consistent scoring right now. We'll talk about that on the other side.
Sometimes you realize the big game, the big show, it's tonight. It's not just earlier than you thought it was. It's tonight. And you don't have your tickets yet. and the tickets are sold out, allegedly. Have you checked Game Time?
What time is it?
It's Game Time. It's the hottest. Yeah, this time it's Game Time. It's the hottest new ticketing app with the Game Time Picks feature. It's basically a filter. You can take the stress out of the shop and compare madness that used to be the ticket buying game, but it's different now with Game Time. They've changed the game, if you will. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. What time is it, Adam?
Game time.
Game time.
Dude,
I just went to the college football playoff game in Arizona.
When?
Game time.
Is that how you did it?
Yeah, I went Game time. You want to get a last minute ticket? Oh, they don't have any. It's not going to be filled up because there's other big games on tonight. Let's go to Game time.
You ever feel like Dev has 36-hour days? Like
Yeah.
we get 24-hour
really does,
days.
yeah.
When did you go to Arizona? All right, here we go.
He's going out after this.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I'm so tired. I didn't know if I'd make it.
Yeah,
through
dude,
the post
I'm
game.
worried about
It's an early
writing.
game tonight.
Well, 6 o'clock. A little early.
Alrighty, with Verizon, they know that the phone bill can be draining your bank account and it can be grating on you. You ever wish you could use that money for something more fun and exciting? Well, Verizon understands. For a limited time, new customers can get up to $800 in a prepaid MasterCard to pay off your current smartphone when you switch. Yeah, that's $800. Do you know what I would do with $800? I don't, because I've never had that much money before. Just trade in any phone from their top brands with select unlimited plans. Verizon gives you the 5G network to power your entire day, and they've got you covered with their award-winning network performance. Hang on, guys, I'm going to call. Hello?
Hey, how clear is the call there?
Dude, it's like you're in the room.
Really?
With me.
That
Yeah.
crystal clear?
Crystal clear.
You must be on Verizon.
I am. Yeah. Wow. What a coincidence. Wow. Switch to Verizon today to take control of your game plan.
Take control, baby. That was great. That was great stuff. Michael Porter Jr.,
Yeah,
9
I'm
of
awake.
17, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, plus 21. So we talked about him at the top, 4 of 9 from 3. If we go through his last handful of games, 28 tonight, 22 previously, 21, 21, 26, 18, 22, 24. Pretty consistent. That's 21 to 28 points every single game. And the thing about it is he has this insane gravity that I feel like goes almost underutilized, but I do feel like the Nuggets are starting to realize that he is especially as Murray struggles, it's like, well, where are we going to find these points? It's from Michael Porter. I actually think it's a great development. The Nuggets can be strengthened from this. I still think they need Jamal to win a title.
Totally.
But they can be strengthened from realizing that they had this utility piece, this guy that could get red hot, that they have him in their back pocket. And right now, he's just doing it so much. And I feel like Yoke's looking for him more. Murray's looking for him more. Michael Malone is trusting him more. Played him 46 minutes tonight. I think it's actually the longest streak of positive and consistent Mike play out we've ever seen. And I think he might be over a little hump as well.
To your point, Jokic, now there's been some injuries, which matters here, but Jokic has more of assists this year to Mike than any other Nugget. Yeah, man, I just think there used to be a time where letting Mike cook, as fun as it was to watch, might come at the expense of the most efficient thing you could do in basketball, which is just let Murray and Jokic do their thing.
Right.
That time has passed, I think. Or at least we're in a period where that's just not the case, even if it's temporary. And so I just think, look, when you're not able to do your thing, when you're not able to put up 130 effortlessly, the ball isn't popping, you don't know where to go, the spacing's, just let Mike shoot.
Yeah.
Give Mike the rock. And, some nights, because the proverbial leash has been so short, that sometimes when Mike starts 1 of 5, people are like, oh, this is what happens when you go to Mike. He started 1 of 5 tonight and finished 9 of 17. Let him keep shooting, man. And it's a credit to him too, though, because a part of this has been him realizing, I got to go get this ball. I got to go get it. I can't just stand in the corner. There was one particular, not the last one he hit at the end of the game, but the 3 before that, where he just came off a DHO and buried it. I'm like, yeah, man, you are that guy as a shooter. You are that guy. So when he plays that way, this team has yet another layer to it offensively that I'm glad they're unlocking to some extent.
I just love, since the rumors,
Yep.
that has just been like, fuck it, I'm just going to shoot the ball. I'm going to just, get back to who I am. I think that it's cute that he could get to the rim and do these other things, but I want him to shoot the ball. Like right now, I mean, he went 4 of 9 from the three. A lot of those are just coming off of the DHO, and he's shooting it as soon as he gets to that spot, which we hadn't seen. He was second guessing. He starts 1 of 5. He still didn't, second guess his shots, but a lot of it is mid range. He's doing like double, pump shots. Like he gets to where he wants to get, and he's going up and shooting it instead of thinking about, do I need to make this extra pass? And what we've been seeing with these like higher scoring games lately is that he's like, okay, I can still shoot the ball a lot of times, even though everybody else is. Jokic had 35 shots. Jamal had 17 shots. Westbrook had 11 shots. He still got up 17 shots. And I think a lot of it was because it was like heat check moments and he's hot, but also it was like, hey, I could shoot and I'm going to be able to. Also, he was locked in on defense in this game.
He was. Great point, Dev.
There's not a lot of those type of games where you're like, okay, I could see him like, standing out and just being locked in. And then also he grabbed 10 rebounds. Like that was a big push for him, is like being active on both ends of the floor. You didn't see him in the second half shy away. In fact, what did he have in the second half? Like
24. I think he had 4 points at
24 in the second half. This was a Mike type of game. Like really, we're getting to that. And lately it's been that. Every single time that he feels like he can shoot it, he shoots it. I don't remember a time that I'm like, hey, he probably should have took that shot. We haven't seen that in about 7 games. More of that. I want more of that.
More of that. Can I say one more shameless Mike thing? Sneaky good Jokic passer. He just flings it up over the top, man.
Over the top.
They never look pretty, but
no, it's fundamentally it's a mess. Yeah, he's just like, here you go. But they kind of turn into. I mean, Jokic's a space octopus. And Mike's like, I don't know, he's going to catch it. Fuck it.
I do love it. He's just throw it high. He'll
catch it.
The 3-point thing, though, I'm glad you brought up. Because I think there was a hidden message from Michael Porter at Media Day this year that kind of set the table for the first 6 weeks of his season, where he said, I saw a stat where I'm really good in the mid-range and maybe me getting more inside. And if you look at it, he had a run of a lot of games, basically from the second game of the year all the way up until very recently, where he was taking about 5 or 6 a game, fewer than he took last year, even though he's playing more minutes, fewer attempts. But if you look at this run that we're talking about, 8, 8, 7, 6, 9, 8, 9. He's now in the 8-9 range consistently on threes. And I really think in a weird way, it kind of started with that Cleveland game.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just watching Max Strus come off of handoffs and just let it fire away. And he even talked after that game a little bit about it. Like, I almost feel like a light bulb went on of, hey, those are the bad shots that are good shots for me. Those are the ones where I can, those are the acceptable Mikes. And he's just been getting his 3 up, and it's such a weapon. And I almost feel like, I keep going back to confidence this year because I think it's such a big thing. There's almost a confidence, it sucks your confidence when you're worried, is this my shot, is it not? When he's learned that one is an okay one, you're allowed to do it, he's going to make more of them. Because he's really good at that, like, catch the ball, go right into your shooting motion and get it off, and he's really good at it. And I feel like it's almost, he unlocked something where he's like, oh, I didn't think I was allowed to do that. I'm doing that now.
Yeah, also, you don't see many people dropping their head when he takes shots anymore. Right. I think that there's something mentally to, like, 1, not getting taken out of the game once you take, a couple of those shots. 2, teammates still trying to go out of their way to find you. And then 3, just making sure that you're active for the entire time. A little bit of it was on Michael Porter Jr.
Yep.
A little bit of it was on other people, like wanting to shine as well and just trying to find, that way. And it seems like they're starting to get the balance because there is a groove that the Nuggets are playing with, especially offensively right now, where it's like, hey, we're just going to try to outscore everybody. Like, that's going to be the name of the game, is offense. And we have one of the best offensive players in the league in Michael Porter Jr. that has, the mid-range game. He gets to the rim and finishes now. And he's also stepping out for the 3, which we already knew was going to be there all along. So I think it's like really just being a little bit more comfortable in his role. He's not overthinking right now.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love what we're seeing from Michael Porter. And I just have the sneaky suspicion that this is a bit of a new role for him, in part because there's a new role to be had. Murray was the 3rd leading scorer tonight with 13. Russell Westbrook, the 4th leading scorer with 9. There's 122 points tonight. Jokic and MPJ were the big scorers. Everybody else was the others tonight, and that's been somewhat common over this last little bit, and I think he's the beneficiary of it. If we go to Westbrook, 9 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. He finished a +5, 4 of 11. The shooting efficiency is always going to be up or down. You don't know what you're going to get from him. But the defense, the hustle, the intensity. He made a bunch of big plays tonight. What'd you see from him, Dem?
Second night of a back-to-back, you need some energy in the game. You need to stay involved.
36-year-old.
I love that the old man is the one that's like, second night of back-to-back, we got to rely on him.
He's going crazy. He's playing like
he's
out
not
of
tired.
his mind. He is not tired. He had 36 minutes in this one. He probably had the same thing last night, and he really does not slow down at all. He's grabs 10 rebounds in the game, and a lot of those was like, I'm going to go out of my way and rebound this. Like, I think that's when you have a active rebounder, somebody that's in your head saying like, hey, you can go get that and like, make your step in this game. And then also when we talk about like Wemby and like trying to like get him off of, him getting comfortable, Russell Westbrook early on, every time he put it on the ground, he went and attacked him. Every time. Even if he gets a foul, he's like, okay, like, but you're going to think about it again. So like I really love the fact that like he's very active defensively, which makes the rest of his offense, come into fruition. The play that stands out to me in this game, Jokic had the dime of the night, the back, like the back. We saw the Westbrook.
This is an
like
all-timer.
The Lakers. He was terrified.
A wide open.
He just threw it over the rim.
Air ball layup.
He didn't even get rimmed.
An air ball layup.
That was crazy. But guess what? He did not dwell on that play.
Never does.
He didn't stick on that. I think that he did with the Lakers. But like it was just like
the fans were booing him.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. But like he was like, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna like play still. So like you got to like tip your hat to Westbrook. Every single night he's like gonna try.
I'd love to hear Russ say something about the Nuggets fans because he did go at the Clippers stint or what have you. But I just wonder if it's like refreshing to be loved by a fan base because it's been a minute.
I think it's refreshing for his fan base.
Oh,
I think they're really excited that they're not fighting for their effing lives every day. They're like, they like him? All right, cool. Yeah. All right. The thing with Russ and also Murray tonight, by the way, 2 combined turnovers between your 2-point guards.
That's big. That's
very big. That's very big because sometimes I feel that's the Russ. There are 2 things Russ, I think sometimes when he gets a little excited, the turnovers can get away from him. And Dev, I know you know this is true. That same thing that makes him this relentless defender, he is good for 1 crunch time and 1 foul per game. There's a little
that was a
bit
tough one.
But hey, man, like you take it because it's the mentality of a guy that tries to make plays, and that's actually popped up as a good thing way more than a bad thing this year.
Well, what was crazy about that and one was really, I can't even blame him because Wemby set the screen at the 3-point line. They threw the lob, and I kind of felt like he was going to have to like shoot a crazy one or whatever. And instead, he dunked it. Like he somehow got to a
didn't
dunk
even jump that high.
From the 3-point line. He dunked it.
I thought
like,
he was going to have to like.
Could Wemby dunk from 3? I want to see him try.
Why is he trying to block Wemby?
I know.
He wants it so bad too.
Just in his mind, he thinks he can.
You know what play actually
like,
sticks out there to me? I don't know how consequential it really was. In the moment, it felt big. He soared in for that tip for that offensive rebound in overtime.
Yeah.
Brother, no 36-year-old has ever spent more time in the air. It was unbelievable how long he was up. So again, like every time you start to go, that was a frustrating one. Yeah. He's made up for it with the hustle play.
The hustle plays, and I can't remember who's the AJ Cornstar there says, he had that hustle play. I can't even remember the exact play, how it went. I just remember Russ getting a loose ball that was like, do you remember
it was? Yeah, it was the Harrison Barnes. They pushed it way up.
That's what I was just talking about.
They had to both go for it. That play was,
and just like
it was wild.
He was soaring, dude.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. That was a good one. All right, let's take our final break. On the other side, get your super chats in. We'll answer them. We'll also talk about, are the Spurs a bad matchup for the Nuggets? Are they good, or are the Nuggets mid? We'll talk about that on the other side. And we're back. Okay, what a good break. So 2 games. Split them. Both of them pretty close. Both of them battles between Jokic and Wemby. Both of them Jokic taking 35 or 36 shots. Very unique games in terms of how Denver seems to prefer to play versus what they actually did in these games. But they do go 1-1. Could have easily won both. Could have easily lost both. Do you think this is a bad matchup? I'll start here. Do you think this is just a tough matchup because they protect the paint, force you to shoot threes? Denver doesn't have 3-point shooters, so they take away Denver's preferred style of play.
Yes. In the Wemby minutes, yes. Now, there is such a talent deficit, I think, that if you want to sit here and go, okay, fine, you should still beat the Spurs twice. Fair enough. I'm not really pushing back on that. I do think I'm glad they won tonight so we can talk about this, because if it's after 2 losses in a row, it just sounds like rationalizing and excuse making. But we're actually just talking about the basketball. The Nuggets are the best paint scoring team in the league right now.
Yeah.
And they are typically efficient 3-point shooters. Tonight wasn't a good example, but not high volume. They're a paint scoring team. And you can just see all the way down to their best and most important player, how cognizant they are of the Lovecraftian horror in the paint that is Wemby. They just know that he's there. And I do think it actually scrambles their whole offense, which is kind of what I meant tonight, where like there's a way the Nuggets like to play, and more often than not, it's going to produce. And when it doesn't, give number 1 the ball. But I do think there is, look, the Nuggets should beat the Spurs. I'm not trying, they are better than the Spurs. They should beat them. But I actually think there is a matchup thing here for sure.
Mine's is, I think is matchup. I truly do. I think that the Spurs pose the exact threat for the Nuggets that other teams don't have. A guy that can at least alter what Jokic is doing, or at least make them think, where, you know, you have to rely on other guys having big games. But also, the one thing that the Spurs have, they have a guy that truly does protect the paint.
Truly.
The Nuggets are the worst team in the NBA when it comes to 3-point, attempts and 3-point makes. And now you're like making them shoot a bit more, but they're going away from what they want. And that's getting to the rim. That's like getting to the paint. They also have a lot of young guys who play hard. So like it's going to be effort. It's going to be the 3-point shots that Denver does not want to take. And then they have a big man for Jokic, which a lot of teams don't have. I do think that Denver is still trying to figure out who they are right now. And every other night, you get good Jamal games, very rare, but you get them. So like they're still trying to find that. They still are trying to figure out what their bench is. They don't have a big man right now. They're still missing Aaron Gordon. So like I think that there is different things right now, but I think it's a lot more of matchup, because I think when it actually matters, the Nuggets will be like, okay, we're going to play a little bit different here.
Yeah.
The Nuggets now are 20-14, and I think that's what they are. I think they're 20-14 as a team. Like, I think that number reflects the caliber of team they have been to this point. But that's good enough for the 4 seed. They're tied with the Lakers in that 4-5 slot, but they're only 2 games back from the Grizzlies and the Rockets. So they're very close to being a 2 seed if they can make a run here. Kind of keep this momentum going as the schedule gets a little bit
Memphis
tougher.
Lost tonight, right? Yeah.
Memphis lost tonight. So they're right there at 14 losses. Memphis at 13, but Memphis has 3 more wins. They played a ton of games somehow. So that's, Denver's right there. I still think that this matchup, while it is a bad matchup because of all the things you guys just said, I do think it also reflects a little bit of what the playoffs are going to be like. This idea about the Nuggets being this great paint team, in a playoffs, teams are going to know this and just try to really be aggressive there. And some teams won't have the personnel for Jokic. They just won't. Some teams will. Some teams will have guys that nobody's going to stop him, but some teams might make him have to take 35 shots to get to his 40 points as opposed to 25 shots. And the Spurs are one of them, but I think more than anything, this is a thing I've really been chewing on. When I just think about the Nuggets' best course, I'll throw this out there. It's probably an extended conversation we can have on Monday, but I'm going to throw it out there very, very briefly. Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, Julian Strawther. I don't think all 3 of those guys are playing in the playoffs. I think Christian Brown and Peyton Watson are clearly more likely to play. But if you have both of them, I think it's hard to have enough spacing consistently for 48 minutes. Yep. And there's part of me that wonders if, we keep talking about, is it Strawther, Zeke, who do you try to trade? Part of me wonders if it's Christian Brown. And this is why I think Denver has to find out what they have in Peyton Watson more than they have already. Because if Peyton Watson can replace Christian Brown, you might be able to say, okay, Christian Brown's a good player, but P. Watt's the guy we're going to pay going forward. And that means we can move him now before those talks begin and try to get another shooter. Because P. Watt, do you need CB and P. Watt's defense if they're never sharing the court together? Maybe not. So maybe you can use Christian Brown, who's a positive trade asset, to bring in more of a offensive type player that you have. What Julian Strawther's supposed to be, you bring in a more experienced version of that to replace him, and then you go with P. Watt as your defensive guy in that shooting guard / small forward spot. It's just something I keep thinking about because I don't know that Denver is going to be able to play both of them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean it's a brilliant idea. You don't want to talk about trading a guy right now.
The trade deadline's 5 weeks away
for sure, and also you even pose the threat they're going to have to pay Christian Brown. So maybe you get something for him before you get to that point. So that's something I hadn't thought about until you brought it up. You've been beating this drum.
He's been very good. I just wonder if you need to pick between the two. I personally pick P-Watt because of his upside.
Yeah, and then also if you just look at this stretch right now, Christian Braun hasn't really been making that difference on defense. Where it's like if you make it will be minimal, like a minimal change if anything. If you were like to replace those two, I do think that at nights you're going to have to go with that, but you're getting that with Christian Braun as well. And we didn't talk about Christian Braun, a bunch tonight. But I mean, I know you guys don't watch The Boys, but there's like the Homelander meme.
Yep.
Where he's like looking around like everybody else is on Jamal for playing horrible, and it's like like they forgot about me. Like he did not have a good game,
good.
Christian Braun
tonight as well. So I think it makes it easier to like at least think about that right now.
I think for the record, I think CB's a good player. I actually really like him. It's more about what does Denver need given their flexibility. There's only a few guys you can trade. Mike, Christian, Peyton, Julian. That's like it. So you go through the list and just think, how do you make a championship roster here? I just have a hard time seeing Christian and Peyton both playing the requisite amount of minutes in the playoffs. They almost cannibalize each other. So if you can pick one and get a different type of player, it might make sense.
Throw in that guys that are likely to play a lot right now include Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook. So like at some point you have potential combinations of two non-shooters, which scares everyone. And I think it should. I know that this is not what you're doing right now, just to be clear, but every time we have a spacing conversation, I'm going to remind people like that's teams guard Michael Porter Jr. They face guard that man beyond the 3-point line. And if that guy wasn't on this team, the spacing all of a sudden would be a problem. I really truly believe that.
I see somebody saying this is like a Calvin Booth talking point. Christian, he drafted Christian, right? That's his guy.
Yes.
So that would be him trading his guy. I mean, those are both Cal guys. So I think that is. I think he would rather keep both of them. Any other final takeaways from this one here, or just thoughts on where the Nuggets are? It does set up a really big matchup with Boston.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a huge if, but. It stinks that they lost the first one at home, but any series like this, I expect to split. And they went out and they got the tougher one after losing the easier one. And I still kind of think Denver's in a sneaky good spot, man. 2 games back of the 2 seed. Now, like they could lose by 30 to Boston. It could also be a really, really competitive game. I think if you go and you get yourself a marquee win at home, the doors are open for people to feel a little bit better than they have. But I understand that every time we've started to say that this year, I know the other foot drops. So
yeah, I think the other shoe, but
that's right. Yeah,
I'll go with the same thing
I get you right.
With Boston. Like that is a place where you really could see where you are. Like right now, we're excited about them beating the Spurs, but I think it's because of how they came back in the game. They also like have the back-to-backs and how they're playing well right now. But if you go and win, against Boston or play them, extremely well, you at least have hope. You start thinking like, okay, this team has what it takes. Boston, right now they are playing, as good as anybody in the league. You already got blown out by the Cavaliers. So like, this is like, okay, another barometer type of game. Let's see if they're up for those type of games. But I just think that you need a marquee win right now because I don't feel like the Nuggets have one this year. That would be one for that. So that's a big game. Like it truly is.
It should be a fun one, man. I'm excited for it.
By the way, guys, Nuggets are tied for the league lead with 4 overtime games played already. Despite playing fewer games than most teams, only 4-0 team in the league in overtime.
I love that. That's kind of fun. And yes, I guess some people say Boston blow us out. Look, Boston's going to be favored in that game. Denver has not.
Should be too.
Denver is not looking like a team that is ready for that challenge. But you know what? Denver also plays better against good teams. So for whatever it's worth, that would be a really good game to say, like, it's the last day of Yokmas. It'd be really nice to look at that game. Actually, I think it falls on Serbian Christmas, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
I think that game is on Orthodox Christmas. So maybe we get... I do love that Yoke on the Christmas game. He's like, it's just another day for me. And then you're like, January 7th, everyone doesn't think that one. He's like, this is my Christmas. I'm going off in this game. All right, we got Super Chats to get to. What do we got?
27.
27.
Hell yeah, they're filling it.
Joe in Philly. Yeah, Mike, all the Nuggets are good.
Hell yeah.
Gonna yell at
That's
us
right,
tonight.
Philly. Let's go, Philly.
Macahoo, good ending, but can we please play like that for all 4 quarters? My blood pressure can't take it. I love Julian, but he's not ready. We need another piece.
I agree. I like Julian too. I think he'll be a good player, just not soon.
My guy, Cedric Exquisite. No Adam, no Kale, no Dev. Good show, Vogt.
Good show, Vogt.
Y'all shouldn't have missed my super chat. We did miss the super chat in the pregame show. We're sorry, Cedric. In our defense, you send a lot of them. Nuggets won and spoiled Wemby's B-Day.
Hell yeah.
I hope we can just win and avoid OT games. Yeah, that would be ideal.
It was a free basketball, man.
It's fun when they win, though.
It seems like they win every time.
Hakeem. Thoughts on JaVale McGee as backup center option?
What are we doing?
Time is a flat circle. He's training hard here in LA. That interior shot, blocking, championship experience, and decent touch.
The Nuggets added JaVale McGee 4 years ago when he was already really old, and Malone didn't play him a single time. Do you remember that?
No, I remember Eric getting really mad because he has asthma. He's like, we play at altitude.
He's not wrong. Yeah, come on.
No, I just loved it.
Why not get me and Dev? Why don't we add me and Dev to the team, man? We're available.
Redo the intro since it was muted. We did. Word for word,
we actually
bar
literally
for bar. Brandon H, that defense in the clutch was awesome. The boys were locked in. 3 points for the Spurs in overtime, and it was actually the largest point differential in an overtime win in Denver Nuggets history. How
Hell yeah.
that?
Really?
Yeah.
That didn't seem like
Brandon
that.
H.
11.
It was plus 11. And then Brandon H says also shout out Michael Dagger Jr.
Oh, yeah. Michael Dagger Jr.
Porter friend. Jokic looking at Murray and then passing the ball to Russ for the clutch 3 was wild, but somehow the right call. Nuggets win.
Ooh, I must have missed that. I'm going to have to go back and look at that because that would be wild.
Matt Sheehan, question, do we switch way too easily? I understand switching everything on screens, but we don't even make people screen. They just walk to the area.
I see people say this a lot. The answer is yes, but at the same time, every team in the NBA does it. And part of the reason they do it is the moment teams start trying to fight through, I think you can catch a team off guard because you keep switching it easy and then once you don't.
Right.
But the moment you start doing it consistently, then you really get punished, which is why teams don't do it.
Kind of like picking your spots to really.
Yeah.
Donnie, me and Wemby share a birthday. All for him. Hooray for me. Happy birthday, Donnie.
Happy birthday, Donnie.
You missed Peter.
Oh, I missed Peter. How could I miss Peter Duck? Revenge for sure tasted sweet. Wemby versus Jokic forever. It's
I know,
really
it actually
fun,
is fun.
It's really fun.
And it was good to split. You know what? You got to split. Can't be too mad at the
not
split.
just for a few games.
Big, hopefully for more than that.
Forever.
Big Honey, shout out to MPJ and Yoke, but my favorite part of this game was the team's defense in the clutch and in OT. Also, CP3 is so damn annoying to watch.
You know what, though? Knock on wood. Now he sucks at his mid-range.
I know.
Which he never missed against
He had a
Yoke.
couple dagger opportunities tonight.
He really did. Couldn't hit any of them.
Peak Chris Paul's sons was like
that
a
was
real
tough.
feeling of futility. Like, they can't guard this.
Because he was being a dick to Yoke. He was like trying to, because Yoke couldn't stop it. And he was like almost laughing about it.
Oh,
now
yeah.
who's laughing, CP?
Revenge game dub secured, says Mr. Exquisite Nugget. Let's beat C's Tuesday. Couldn't agree more, brother. Couldn't agree more. Ben Mack, did you see Malone's sight for Peyton when he passed the Yoke the ball in OT? Peyton out of the doghouse. What?
Is he out of the doghouse?
He's dancing now. Smooch starts dancing. He ain't on the doghouse.
Let's go, baby. I hope so, man. I hope so.
Jay, when Mike hit the floor, I didn't breathe for like a full minute. From trade rumors to this, most valuable Porter, and hopefully a Nugget for life.
Ooh, most valuable Porter. The Porter redemption arc this year has been really fun. It's like Nuggets Nation only has enough love in their heart for one of Murray or MPJ.
It had one rose.
One rose. And like, actually, Jamal, give me that back. Mike, here.
To be fair, if they could be good at the same time, I think
would
we'd
be
all
awesome.
hand out 2 roses. I
think you're right.
We're kind of limited to 1. Matt, imagine these 2 games were on national TV.
Imagine that. The NBA might be growing.
Druid trading Wemby 2 for 12 from 3-point range. Told you pregame, revert to the mean.
Yeah, he was on fire last game.
You could have got all of France watching and all of Serbia watching.
You could have had it. You could have had it, man.
Michael Porter truther, 40% 3-point, 48% mid-range, 70% at the rim last 2 seasons. KD plus MPJ.
The 2 of them, man. I mean, Kevin Durant, the remix, Michael Porter Jr.
One thing to think about if you were the fan of the other team during a Porter quarter, it really would feel like, this guy doesn't effing hit. Like, what are we supposed to, when Kevin Durant goes off against you, you're like, well, just gotta hope he misses.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Mike has a bit of that. Logan, only performance worse than Jamal was Mark Lindsay.
Well, I always love it. Yep. Pile on him.
Michael Porter Truther MPJ equals best shooting wing in the NBA. 21-4 in his highest 25 field goal attempt games last year. What a stat from a true propagandist.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah. Second best net rating in the NBA when getting 5+ field goal attempts in a quarter. Let Mike shoot.
I think it's possible that's Michael Porter's burner.
Brother, if you want to just get a beer sometime and chop it up,
We're big fans. We're big fans.
Couldn't agree more. 5-5-5-5-5-ish.
Oh, I love this point.
I love that FU3 Mike took at the end of the game.
Me too. I actually loved it.
Jokic hated it, and I was like, you know what, man? Chin up.
Fair enough.
Another great performance by Jokic. P-Watt, defensive player of the game chain. And Zeke kept the bench warm. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Even you 5-5-5-ish.
RWK, bad culture is a cancer. Have to deal with the source. Culture be saved if we move on from both Booth and Ball.
Might be some truth in there. I don't know.
Kona Nugs fan.
Or we could just really root for Jamal to get it together. He has like an epiphany, if you will.
This is a hundo spot from Kona Nugs fan to throw yoke and hang loose, brother. Couldn't agree more. Well said. Very well said.
Somebody bet the over tonight. I know it.
You know, Murray has been killing it since cocking off in that post-game presser a few games ago. Going to start calling Murray Mr. 617.
This was my point last game, man. You can't go to the podium and talk that much shit after 2 good games and then lay 3 straight stinkers.
You know, also wants us to please explain switching guards onto Wemby.
Well, because the truth is Wemby's just a giant guard. I mean, a lot of teams do it, you know, is that he really is just tall. But you're like, even if you're 7 foot, you're not blocking a shot. So you might as well put guys that are a little quicker and attack that dribble, as we've been saying.
I
get mad.
Kind of agree.
I do be getting mad. I'm not gonna lie.
When they switch
I'm
that?
like, Jamal again?
Yeah,
you have
well.
LeBron James on you again?
Yeah, well, LeBron, yes.
Dude.
Wemby is just like off.
On the Wemby thing, I kind of get it. You know, low key, though, it's like Karl Anthony Towns punished that switch in that last series. Liz A, 5280. MPJ and Jokic are out there scoring consistently since the start. Look for him more.
Yeah, keep looking for him.
Am I dreaming? This is a real show.
Everything's coming up Vogt this year?
Druid. Well, the Celtics game is coming up, so let's
find out.
Druid trading. Shout out to Dev. He is my MV podcaster of all podcasts.
Hey, man.
Hey, Druid is a real one. That's the best one we got all night.
Yeah,
it was only 2 BAMs.
Yeah, it was only 2 BAMs.
I don't know. You know,
what does that mean?
He didn't want to pay a whole lot of BAMs. He only got 2 BAMs on that.
Trading, real one.
Yeah.
Real one.
I see somebody put 200 BAMs on that. I don't know.
All right.
Devout Yokagamis Lumi checking in. Murray in a perpetual state of BJ malaise. New girlfriend. I do love how much our chat loves the show. You know, they really get it. They really get it.
They're the homies,
really
man. First teamers.
Josh Barnett from Down Under. Nugs W India lose cricket to Aussies. What a treat.
Oh man, big day for Josh Barnett. Big day, man.
I can't believe we haven't gotten to that yet.
I can't believe we haven't.
Shout out Josh.
Around the association.
Let's go around. Can you tell us about that match?
No.
And finally, Ben Hester with a really good question. Does Vogt not wearing Hawaiian shirts in the winter make him a chill guy fraud? Can I tell you guys something that's happened?
Yeah, please.
When you own a flower shirt long enough, it goes through a couple washers and dryers that it shouldn't. The other thing that happens is you gain weight over time.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
We may have to build up a new flower shirt closet for the. It's just, I work at a sports bar. I don't know what to tell you.
I told you, man, because I watched Top Gun Maverick today with my girls. I get it, man.
That Miles Teller
totally
shirt?
wanted to wear it.
I want that shirt so bad.
You
dude.
walk away. The other thing that's so funny, man, my girls, because they're 8 and 9, you know, they're getting older. I told you, they're really into Dwayne The Rock Johnson, really like him. And they like him because they have a crush on him.
Oh, no.
It's actually funny. They're like, he's very handsome. And they love Tom Cruise. They love Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
They love Miles Teller.
Good
they
taste.
love all those guys. They're like, what other movies are there in? I'm like, not that you can watch.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know.
As far as all of them together with their shirts off, this is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Because they're still young and innocent or whatever, so it's just like, you know, it's a cute guy or whatever. But it's just kind of funny to be in that age now where I'm like, oh, God, really? That's why you like this movie? I thought you thought it was cool with the Jets and
Dwayne
stuff.
The Rock Johnson.
So good. Jumanji, good. Good movie.
Is
man.
it?
It's good,
I wouldn't
though.
have known.
I thought I wouldn't have known either. You get to know that when you watch these kid movies. Everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're off on our Sunday, of course, but we will be back Monday with an off day show. And then Tuesday, man, what a big matchup. Nuggets, Celtics.
Big game.
Big measuring stick game. Serbian Christmas. Should be a banger. Everybody hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you.
We all silly like the mayor.